Hello, my name is Peyton Bean, and this is my course project on how canine parvovirus affects homeostasis in Canis familiaris, which is the domestic dog. Hello, and welcome to my course project presentation on my chosen species and their homeostatic challenge. Today we will discuss the disruption to homeostasis in the domestic dog due to canine parvovirus. Homeostasis is the body's ability to maintain a stable internal environment despite external changes. Canine parvovirus disrupts homeostasis, and today we discover the challenges of this virus and what it does to the domestic dog's body, as well as potential treatments and preventions to further aid in lower likelihood of contraction and fatality among this species. Now that we know what homeostasis is, we can further discuss how canine parvovirus disrupts the processes within the domestic dog's body. According to Animal Physiology, particularly Chapter 6, Section 6.3, Digestion and absorption, key functions like intestinal villi and crypts, nutrient and water absorption, and gut barrier function are essential for homeostasis. Canine parvovirus, or CPV, destroys the crypt cells in the small intestine, leading to malabsorption, diarrhea, dehydration, and electrolyte imbalances. Direct disruptions to fluid, pH, and nutrient homeostasis. In the diagram shown, you can see the homeostatic disruption when a CPV genome enters the cell and the normal functions of the body begin to degrade, making internal responses out of order, which ultimately leads to symptoms and the inability to remain within normal parameters. And here we have a list of some scientific articles that we will briefly discuss in terms of their connection to our key concepts and their findings. And as we move along, these articles will aid in our discovery of how homeostasis is challenged by CPV, as well as future preventions, treatments, and mitigations methods. Research by Capozza 2023 breaks down the history and presents information on canine parvovirus and the many variants that have arisen since its origin discovery. Research like this can be beneficial in my course project as it discusses the virus, the host, its behaviors, and what knowledge and mitigation techniques we currently have to aid in treatment and prevention. From an article published by Microbiology Spectrum, researchers in China found an uptick in canine parvovirus illnesses and aim to further discover the pathways leading to the increased infection. This study can be very useful in my course project in further understanding the virus, how it is spread, and what factors are influencing the increase in positive illnesses. From Panda 2009, researchers in this study aims to provide insight into the disruption of the dog's body after being infected with canine parvovirus. This article can be extremely useful in my course project as a way to understand the vital nature of prevention and treatment and can aid in awareness and education on the disease's disruption of homeostasis. In the final study from Shiro 2022, the researchers discussed the unfortunate possibility of antibiotic resistance to certain bacteria in dogs infected with CPV. In reference to my course project, this source can be extremely useful when discussing how treatment can be a difficult part of disease management or mitigation. And in the photo, you can see this is how they test for parvo. And here we have our secondary sources. And this article breaks down canine parvovirus, or CPV, as well as the causes, symptoms, treatments, and preventions. This is beneficial to my course project as it can provide a deeper insight into the virus itself and answer many questions that I may have throughout my research. This secondary source comes from a very credible source, Cornell University College of Veterinary Medicine, and can be further helpful by providing additional research and resources into current testing, cases, and behaviors of CPV, as well as the latest information on treatments and vaccinations. The picture to the right showcases CPV under a microscope, which is useful to be able to recognize when conducting research about this virus. So now we're going to get into the background of my chosen species, the domestic dog, or Canis familiaris. The domestic dog is a subspecies of the gray wolf, Canis lupus, and was the first animal to be domesticated by humans. Archaeological and genetic evidence suggests that domestication began around 15,000 years ago, possibly even earlier, as dogs formed close bonds with early human societies. Over thousands of years, dogs were selectively bred for various tasks, including hunting, herding, guarding, and companionship like we know today. This resulted in the development of hundreds of distinct breeds, each with specialized physical and behavioral traits tailored to human needs. Dogs have since become one of the most diverse species on Earth in terms of size, appearance, and temperament. Domesticated dogs have adapted to a wide variety of environments, living closely alongside humans in nearly every culture around the globe. Their social intelligence, trainability, and ability to interpret human gestures and emotions makes them among the most unique animals. As omnivores, dogs can thrive on a varied diet. Although their digestive system still reflects their carnivorous ancestry. Today, dogs play roles based on companionship, including working as service animals, search and rescue aids, police and military partners, as well as therapy animals. And despite their domestication, dogs retain many behaviors from their wild ancestors, which is an important note in this study, such as pack dynamics, territorial marking, and scent-based communications. And now that we've discussed a little bit about their background, we're going to go into their habitat. The domestic dog does not have a single natural habitat because it has adapted to live in a wide variety or a wide range of environments, though through its close relationship with humans. Dogs are now found on every continent except Antarctica and thrive in diverse settings, from urban apartments to suburban homes to rural farms and nomadic landscapes. Their adaptability is one of the strongest traits, allowing them to survive in both hot and cold climates, high altitudes, densely populated cities, etc. In many places, dogs live indoors with humans, benefiting from climate control, shelter, and regular feeding, while in others, they may roam freely in a more natural or semi-wild condition. Free-ranging or feral dogs, which are not confined to houses, often create their own habitats near human settlements where food and water sources are even more accessible. These dogs typically establish loose social groups and may rely on scavenging, hunting small animals, or human handouts to survive. Even in these cases, their preferred habitat remains closely tied to human activity. Overall, the domestic dog's habitat is shaped more by human influence than the natural ecosystems, making them one of the most ecologically flexible animals on the planet. And now we're going to discuss a little bit about the conservation status of this animal. The domestic dog does not have a conservation status. Per the IUCN Red List, it's classified as not evaluated, and domestic populations are extremely abundant. It's estimated that around 1 billion worldwide species exist, or animals of this species exist. However, free-range or feral dogs pose major ecological threats. They have contributed to the extinction of at least 11 vertebrate species and negatively impact around 188 of the IUCN listed threatened species. And these include mammals, birds, reptiles, as well as amphibians. And now that we've learned just a little bit more about their actual background, their habitat, and what is considered their conservation status, now we're going to talk about the challenge that the disease that we presents to their homeostasis. There is a danger lurking for puppies and sometimes even older dogs with CPV. It is highly contagious, and it's a viral disease of dogs that commonly causes acute gastrointestinal illness in puppies. The disease most often strikes pups between 6 and 20 years old, but older animals can be affected. A rare variant of the disease may be seen in very young neonatal puppies, and it is called myocarditis, an inflammation of the heart muscle. This is challenging as dogs try to maintain homeostasis. The challenge is due to the infectious agent, and canine parvovirus attacks rapidly, dividing cells, especially in the gastrointestinal tract, and in some cases, the bone marrow and the heart. And just in this sample over here in the graph or the image, you can see that it talks about the progression of the infectious disease. So starting at day 1 and then ending at day 24, and how that really rapidly changes through those days. Canine parvovirus is a highly contagious infectious agent classified as a non-enveloped DNA virus. It is primarily transmitted through the fecal-oral route, meaning dogs become infected by ingesting virus particles shed in the feces of infected animals. Once inside the body, the virus targets rapidly dividing cells, especially those in the intestinal epithelium and bone marrow, and this leads to severe gastrointestinal and immune system damage. In some cases, particularly in often very young puppies, the virus can also affect, like we talked about, the myocardium or the heart muscle, potentially causing life-threatening complications. CPV poses a serious challenge to homeostasis, which is the body's ability to maintain stable internal conditions like hydration, pH, temperature, and nutrient balance. One of the most critical disruptions caused by CPV is the disturbance of nutrient balance, particularly leading to hypoglycemia and nutritional deficiency, which is where we see the decline. The virus damages the intestinal lining and then results in vomiting, diarrhea, and it prevents the proper absorption of those nutrients. And this lack of nutrient uptake can cause dangerously low blood sugar levels, which is the hypoglycemia, leading to weakness, lethargy, and in severe cases, especially in young puppies, seizures. The example graph below me in the side shows different variants of CPV and the number of infections collected from a certain study. CPV significantly challenges several key physiological parameters that are essential for maintaining health and homeostasis. One of the most immediate concerns that we see other than nutrient uptake is hydration status, as severe vomiting and diarrhea can lead to rapid fluid loss and dehydration. This fluid loss also disrupts electrolyte balance, which can result in dangerous cardiac arrhythmias. Body temperature is another affected parameter, with infected dogs experiencing fever from infection or hypothermia due to shock. This virus also targets bone marrow, which is extremely dangerous. It leads to a reduced white blood cell count and a weakened immune response. In addition, blood glucose levels, particularly in puppies, can drop dangerously low. That contributes to lethargy, weakness, and, like we talked about earlier, seizures. CPV also affects multiple organ systems, each of which plays a vital role in maintaining the dog's overall health. The digestive system is one of the primary targets, where the virus damages the intestinal lining, leading to malabsorption of nutrients, severe diarrhea, and significant fluid loss. The immune system, particularly the bone marrow, is also compromised as CPV destroys cells responsible for producing white blood cells, resulting in leukopenia and a weakened ability to fight off infections. The circulatory system suffers due to dehydration, which reduces blood volume and impairs the delivery of nutrients, oxygen, and immune cells, and this potentially can lead to septic shock. In very young puppies, though, the cardiovascular system may also be affected, and the virus can attack the heart muscle, causing myocarditis and potentially leading to sudden death. And in this graphic, we can see the schematic overview of CPV2 pathogenesis infection in dogs. Includes the viral location at various days post-infection and infected tissues. So how it starts, the fecal-oral route, and what it does in the body, and how it sheds as well. With all of that information, we know that CPV is extremely dangerous, and the disruptions to homeostasis are very much a cause for concern. Many of the research here in this presentation showcases the need for further prevention, which really only includes the parvo vaccine, as well as mitigation methods like trying to keep your puppies away from maybe infected fecal matter or any other route that they can possibly get this. And then there are many therapies and treatments. The main treatment, though, that is offered once a positive case of parvo is found is ultimately supportive care, which means ensuring that vitals are stable and that the animal continues to improve with fluids and maybe other treatment options that are available. And then finally, we have here my reference page, including the textbook references, scientific articles, secondary articles or sources, and my photo credits. Thank you so much.